1470, good luck. So we've not played before, we have no head-to-head score. So what are we on now? 980 games we've done. Okay, what do we want to do here? I'm going to actually go c4 and then d4. Opponent 770 games, it's another new account, so the rating might not be accurate. We'll find out as the game goes on. I'm probably going to do this. Oh, what's he done there? Is he just trying to throw this one? Maybe. He's just literally hanging a pawn. Maybe he doesn't want to play the game. It's possible. Unless this is some sort of weird prep that I do not know anything about, but it's just a pawn, isn't it? He's going to have to try and castle this side. Now I can't really castle that side. But it's got to be good to trade the bishop there. That's got to be good. And now it's got to be good to just fix this and try and challenge this. And I'm probably going to do this. He's got to do something about his king. Unless, like I say, he just doesn't really want to play the game. He's just trying to get it out of the way. That could be the case. Knight here threatens check. So knight here. Knight across we can just take. But it actually doesn't look quite so bad for black. Knight across. If you play queen up, you actually lose your knight. I'm a little bit of a naturally cautious player, so I'm going to go g3. Bishop to g2. And just create the option to at least get castle. Let's see if he flies down the board. See, I could try and go for a quick checkmate, but I'm not really too bothered about that. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But having opened up his king side, he really needs to think about castling queen side. Okay, so he's played knight out wide to attack the pawn. Logical. So we could throw a check in, and you can block or you can drop back. So if you block, what do I do? What do I do? I think knight back actually I'm going to play here. It guards it and it creates the option of a check, but he could easily block it, so it's not an actual threat. He's gone off to head that, gone to block that anywhere now. So again, we could throw in, actually, can we just throw in b4 here? The knight will have to go back. We could take, but we wouldn't really want to. Check. If you go back now, we can take. Take, check. So if we check, you're going to have to really play c6. Then have we got a nice move like d5 possibly, with a knight awkwardly placed? Or then b4 if you played c6. So here, c6, can we go b4? What if he strikes out? Take, we win a pawn, right? I'm going to play the check. c6 on knight back is what I'd expect here. I mean, I'm a naturally cautious player, so really I would generally prefer to castle first before getting adventurous. But here, if he launches forward, he frees up a square for his knight. So b4, this is covered. So he plays forward, take. If he takes this way, we can then just take the knight, right? So he'd have to take this way. So here, down. Oh, we just take the knight, don't we? If he goes b5. Here, he can't move the knight. I don't think he can move the knight right now. If he goes b5, we just take it. If he takes here, oh, he's got that. Actually, he had takes, and then b5. He didn't do it. So let's take the knight. Yeah, I might have gone wrong. I think he could have taken the pawn first, knight takes, and then b5. I think he had that. So he's launched forward. So knight across to jump in looks very pleasant. It's on the rim, which you don't generally want. We can grab a pawn as well, which must be stronger, but there is a potential for two knights to fall. So we can take and win a free pawn and then just shift the knight. That looks nice. Okay, we can gain a rook and lose a knight, but then we're going to have to move our knight. So do we do that? Gain a rook, lose a knight. Say we play knight across, probably to b3. If he moves his bishop somewhere, we can just drop back, right? We're not getting trapped, so I think it makes sense to take the rook and then knight to b3. And then try and get the bishop all the way back in castle. So he's attacked our bishop. We could go here and attack the pawn, and I don't see how he easily defends it. The queens are off the board, so it's a little bit less risk. So let's attack the pawn. So let's now collect the pawn. The knight is guarded. The knight is now not guarded. So do I just castle and let him take here? I've got bishop down as well. Take, rook takes. That looks actually better. So bishop down takes, we just take, and it stops his rook getting in. And I'd be very happy if he sacks it, if he takes here. Because the knight's guarded, the knight protects the pawn. I'm going to castle. You maybe don't need to castle, you can keep the king in the middle, especially because the queen's off the board. But I want to try and get after this pawn. Doesn't really matter if I lose this one, I've got another one there. The danger is this. Take might get his knight active, so I'm going to play rook across, and if takes, I'll take and hit the rook and the pawn. If he takes, I'll then collect this one. So I'm going to take with the knight and hit the rook and the pawn and try and collect here. Okay, so he's gone to guard, so I'll just distract him by pushing this pawn. So I'm not trying to keep this pawn, I've got a second one here. The knight in isn't really a big issue right now. I think we can just drop back. Actually, there is a pawn, isn't there? Or do we take it? If I go here, he's got 2 moves to get back. Let's just grab a pawn. A pawn's a pawn. We'll come back and we'll guard this check threat. I'm just trying to win the game. I don't really care how I win games. I'm just playing to try and win them. So that's just blundered another piece. We can go forward and hit the 2 pieces there. So let's hit the knight and the king. Now let's collect. Oh, hold on. When he was here, I had knight checked in. I've just realised. Not to worry. Not to worry. I'm going to push the pawn now and threaten to get a queen. White takes, so we'll get our queen. So I think we're fine to just take here now. We just got to be sensible. Here we can block here. A little bit of a nuisance. So we can check here, right? It's got to be good to check. I think I'll step up first, just so the king can't step in. So I can check here now. Or I can check here, collect a pawn. Either way, can't we? So we check here. So we should be able to collect this pawn. And we just need the rook off the board. We can sack a rook for these, or we can just collect this pawn. It's all good. Let's take the pawn, remove the risk. He's played the game a little bit too quickly for the time control, because it is 10 minutes here, so... Just get rid of the rook and take the pawn. Okay, so now I'll just go up and get a new queen. Just double them up. It's just got to make sure the king's got a legal move somewhere, so we get the victory there. Yeah, I think in the beginning there, he might have had knight takes and then b5. Let's take a look at that, so we'll see what it was in engine speak. So 41 moves, so they're the move times for both players. So let's request analysis. That's running nice and quick. It took a little bit of a while yesterday. So in engine language, wow, we've done really well. 98 versus 92 on the accuracy. So he's only got a few moves which are not really good moves. It's just he's gone wrong early on and he's just fighting a difficult position. But on the headline, figures are terrific, aren't they? But it doesn't mean we've played like a GM level game there. It's just because it's a relatively comfortable game. So we'll just take a look and see what went wrong and where. So see G5 there, yeah. When you see a move like that early on, I'm either thinking, is this some sort of unknown prep that I just don't know anything about? Because it's a slightly unusual move. You can see it's just a blunder. Or does our opponent, for instance, think, no, I don't really fancy playing the game for some reason, just get on with the next game, get this over quickly? That could be the case, but it was correct to take, correct to trade. E3, you see, these are all good. Nothing's been flagged for us here. The knight up was okay. Queen check was good. B4 was good. Yeah, he did have knight takes here, which I realised as soon as I'd made the move, but it's still good for us. We're +4 better. Knight takes, and then b5. We'll drop back, takes and takes. We're still threatening to crash through here as well. Maybe take there and then here. So it's still much better for us. So knight takes, b5. Yeah, bishop takes the pawn, bishop up, takes. Oh, then you can just get rid of the knight by getting another pawn there. Oh, and then another pawn. And then drop your queen back and you're much better. But that was the best that our opponent had there. And then we're just looking for common sense moves here just to convert, so we'll see without messing up. So there's nothing really been flagged for us at all, thankfully. Now in this position I did miss knight up again. I realised I had that as soon as I played this, but we're still winning a piece, so it's all good. we've managed to collect these dangerous pawns. And then just remove the risk. And then opponent just resigns to go on and get on with another game because it is an arena. But at our level, that's still not a bad game, is it? Not bad, so very good.